So you made it to part 2 of the 3-part Savannah's 101 series. Welcome to part 2 about Savannah's 101. This week's video is about personality traits and characteristics. I hope you enjoyed the video. Without further ado, here we go. Now on to one of the more exciting parts. No. You are like, you've already seen her act around a bit more, but what makes a Savannah Cat so different from a normal house cat? Well, are you gonna allow me to kind of cuddle you? If it wasn't clear already, Savannahs aren't great cuddly cats. There we go. Now, off the bat, you've probably noticed that she is not a very cuddly cat. She doesn't really like to be held for long amounts of time. She doesn't really like to be cuddled, and she is not a lap cat. Unfortunately, from my experience personally, I have noticed that is just a red line throughout the whole breed. Neither Nim nor Gaia nor MacLeod enjoy any kinds of being picked up or being held for a long amount of time. Unless they come to you themselves, but even then, they usually leave after a while. You're looking glorious from there, sweetie, but you're not leaving. I do not allow it. I need you. I need you for the video. I know. As you can see, getting her to stay is very, very complicated. The reason why she's allowing me to do all of this is because she knows me, and because I'm the only human that can do this to her. So yes, if you do consider a Savannah, do know that they are not lap cats. They don't like forced cuddling, and they don't like being picked up. You have to kind of like restrain them. It doesn't stress them out necessarily, unless they're very skittish cats like Nim. We try not to hold him. We tried in the beginning to like sort of get him used to the feeling, and he trusts us up until like 10 seconds in, and then he kind of starts panicking. So, not great lap cats, not very cuddly. Very social, just not cuddly. Now, the next thing that we usually say about Savannahs that you need to watch out for is that they're extremely energetic. They need so much space, and when I say space, they need a lot of space. And that doesn't mean outside space. Like, outside compartments I'm gonna talk about later, but like leaving them outside is probably just not a good idea in the beginning. So what you need from the get-go is a house that gives them the ability to roam around, to do their own stuff, to get away from everyone, and that counts for usually every house cat, but for Savannahs just in particular because they need so much space. They're an incredibly energetic cat breed. They have so much hunting energy that they just need their space to roam around and to just like have the ability to work out all the zoomies. Also, a quick side note that if you do not have enough space, you will see the effects on the cat's mood. They can destroy your house out of frustration. Even if you have enough room, just know that they are a very mood-swingy breed, and that sometimes, you know, they have to out their frustration on your furniture, or just anything they can find. Now, the second part that I really like about the Savannahs, but is also just a very specific thing about them, is that they're incredibly dog-like. They follow you around everywhere. They wait for you until you come home. They talk to you. Hey, Mo. Yeah! Like you're one of them, because they're so incredibly, extremely vocal. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Oh my god. Nina. Oh my god. They talk back at any given moment they can. I think if I started talking to her right now, she probably would try and like back talk me. But I think I'm gonna get her just even more annoyed then, so we're just gonna try and keep that on the down low. So yes, they talk back. They are so loud. They scream at anything, especially for food, of course. Gaia. But they also just, you know, they answer when you ask them a question, and hold on to your hats if you're in heat, because that's Satan. Satan in a tiny cat's body. Excuseer. Jesus Christ. Neuter your cats. Usually when you get your Savannah cat, you are supposed to get them neutered immediately unless you pay an extra fee on top of already expensive fee to actually be allowed to be able to breed them. Next part is probably catproofing your home. Like I said before, they can out their frustration on your house, on your furniture, but also any tiny hole they can find, they will climb, they will go in there, and when I tell you that they'll get stuck when you get home, they will. And suddenly you have no idea where your cat is. So catproof your home. Don't leave anything out which you know they can destroy. Don't leave any holes uncovered. And when I say uncovered, I mean cover them up really good. Put a lot of layers in there because they will yank it out when you're not home. Any way of getting in there, they will find it. She may be a little bit physically impaired. It doesn't keep her from jumping on anything she can find. They are incredible jumpers, especially the higher F generations, like the ones closer to the parent generation, because their legs are incredibly long. The serval cat is known for the fact that it is a hunter by jumping in tall grass, so you know, you can kind of just, you know, put 1 and 2 together at this point. Be aware that suddenly you can find your cats in very high places which you did not expect them to be able to reach. Another part that is also very interesting to know, which is probably not something that everyone will mention when it comes to their pets. Okay, go and chill on the table. She'll be gone for 2 seconds. Is that they're incredibly picky eaters, as I have noticed. It all depends, I believe, on what they have gotten as a kitten, like what the food was that they were introduced to back then. But I feel like they kind of sort of imprint on that. They just focus on that entirely. And it is very hard or just almost impossible to get them off of that feed when they get older. So for example, Nim was raised on just normal dry food, which is really easy for us because besides that, he'll eat anything we give him. But for example, this one over here and the other one, neither. They came from the same breeder. They were brought up on wet food, but also raw chicken. So first of all, they will never in their life touch dry food. We have tried every trick in the book when I tell you we have tried it. We've had a lot of cats over the years that I've been alive, like 24 years and at least like 2 cats per year. So, you know, we kind of know our stuff. But when it comes to them, they are so picky, they're so stubborn that they don't want to eat anything that they will not eat for days on end just because they want you to get them what they want. Make sure that if you're trying to get or if you're planning to get a Savannah cat that you do discuss this with your breeder because it is important to know what they've been used to eating because the chances are you will probably not be able to get them off of this. And then that's not even the end of it. Rotate. Find stuff that they like and just switch it up. Keep on switching it up so that they'll never really get used to one thing like in a row because it is impossible. And besides that, raw feeding, you don't necessarily have to do it like, I guess, all the time. It doesn't not need to be like a necessarily raw food diet, but it is beneficial to the breed to actually give them raw food. And believe me, they prefer it. She is nuts for raw chicken. She eats whole raw chicken legs. She drags it around. So be aware that if you do give them raw food, it will not stay in one place. Especially if you have more than 1 cat and they're all kind of like very dominant over whose leg is whose. There will be chicken drag marks on the floor and there will be blood. So if you do not have an easily cleanable like flooring, good luck. Next thing that I would talk about is depending on what F generation of course you have, they're gonna be very big house cats. And when I'm talking big, I'm talking big. These, especially for example, if you take an F1 generation, those are almost literally the exact same size as a serval. They're about the size of a medium size to a small size dog, but like somewhere in between. So don't count them, like when I talk about small size, I'm not talking about Chihuahua small size. When I'm talking small size, I'm usually thinking of like a Shiba, you know, like not petite size. So when keeping or wanting a Savannah, you will need to do some research on where you live, considering that not every country nor every state in America will allow you to keep this breed. Not just the breed in general, but sometimes also just certain F generations. For example, where I live in Belgium, you are not allowed to keep F generations from up until 1 to 4, because those are not considered as domestic breeds. So up until F5 and then lower, you are just completely safe. But ever since April 2019, you do need a permit to keep them. We, for example, are safe because we got our cats way before that. We got them in like December of 2018, for them at least, and then we got them in February 2019. right on the cusp, so we do not need permits for them, which is very useful. Because if you do know, or if you do realize that you are keeping your Savannahs legally, take some measures, you know, research on what you need to do to actually keep them legally, and if you can't keep them legally, when authorities do figure out that you are keeping an animal illegally, they are allowed to confiscate your pets. You do not want to get your family member confiscated. It happens more often than you think, I think, especially ever since hybrid breeds have come more up on the market. So I'd advise against that. Just, you know, do some research, please. We, both me and my mom did quite the research after we figured it out that permits were a thing. Gaio, okay, just move around. Which gave us quite a bit of stress. We contacted a lot of people and they told us that we were fine, that as long as they were neutered and we had the official documents and papers proving that they were ours, but also that they were underneath the F4 generation, that we were completely safe. So we're all good to go. But please make sure that so are you, even before you start purchasing any animals in advance. So you made it to the end of the video. Good job. I know this is a long series. I hope you somehow get some educational value out of this. It's just my experience personally on the breed so far. And I hope you like the video. So make sure to subscribe, like the video, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!